What's going on, everybody? Welcome into a Three Stones Pit Crew special production. Doing a little bit of a race preview as we're getting ready for one of our biggest races up here in the Midwest, the Joe Shear Classic. I'm Kelly Jackman,
I'm Cam, your tire changer.
and kind of a little bit along the lines of NASCAR up here for the Midwest Tour. We kick off our season with one of the biggest events of the year in the Joe Shear Classic 200 for the ASA Midwest Tour. So that'll be happening on Sunday, May 4th at Madison International Speedway. So I think we're both beyond excited for this one.
Oh yeah.
You got a good field of 29 super late models on the ASA Midwest Tour entry list. So, what storylines are you kind of keeping an eye on as we get ready for the weekend?
So there's two guys that really kind of I'll focus on two drivers and then just kind of flow of the race. So the two drivers that I'm really looking at, other than your typical notables or always entrants, Jacob Gady and Brett Edmonds. Jacob Gady, he's going to be in that 47 Chase Motorsports car. They're still kind of trying to get familiar with each other in that program. Had a decent run at the Dells going before the tires just kind of faded off of that thing. Um, and drifted back from the field. Madison's always treated him very well in his NASCAR Weekly Series ventures, splitting time between there and Lacrosse and really Elko as well. Um, that was a big part of him winning that national championship a handful of years ago. So I expect him, to have a decent showing there. And then Brett Edmonds, he kind of came out of nowhere last year, just kind of
Oh yeah,
bided his time throughout the race and just slowly picked him off. Ended up finishing P3 and really, if some cautions kind of went his way, he probably could have contended for the lead there towards the end of the race. So weekly competitor at Madison, showing up to race the big guys, the Majeski, the Sommers, the Fenhouses, all them guys on a Sunday afternoon.
looking at kind of looking back at last year's race a little bit. Edmonds was on the bumper Summers for two.
Yep.
Uh, Majeski was checked out on the field. But Edmonds had a car late in that race with the run that it went the way it did that he very well could have finished second in that event. So
Yep.
he gave Summers a look there a couple times to try to get himself in position for a P2. So I think that was kind of a big coming out for him in terms of that his program can run with the big dogs at a big track. So that was
Yep.
that was cool to see.
Absolutely. Um,
So
well, I was gonna say other thing that I'm looking at too is the track, not necessarily the track, but the race itself. This is a long race. It's a 200 lap race. Um, very fast, very high banked. If you don't wreck, guys break a lot of stuff in this type of race. You see engines go early in the year. You saw a tire from DeAngelis last year go on them. I think Sauter's broken axle or two here as well. So this is one of those races that this is tough on the equipment, and this being the first ASA Midwest Tour race, and really the first race for a lot of guys that didn't run the Alive 5 race earlier this year. It's a test of your equipment right out of the gate.
yeah, for sure. And it'll be the first not only long one, but if the weather plays out the way we think it will, it'll be the first real hot one. This event traditionally has been very warm.
Yes.
There's been events we've been up and we've left looking like lobsters. So the test of man and machine will for sure be on display. Kind of going on your point there with DeAngelis. He was somebody that was fast out of the gate last year. With the tire issue, he didn't finish the event. He was fast at the Dells a couple weeks ago, so he runs a fair amount of events at Madison. So I would expect him to be quick. And someone else I'm kind of keeping an eye on is Dalton Zier. Um, he likes that place.
Yep.
He's coming off of the Howie Letto last year, so
Yep.
he knows how to get around that place. And then kind of one surprise, and I think you're intrigued with this one as well. This was my race pick for the weekend. Getting back in the seat more regularly is going to be Andrew Morrissey. In the times that black 39 has shown up, that thing's been fast.
Yeah, they're not running the full schedule like you see a lot of other guys do. So they're not cherry picking by any means, but they're running the races that they really want to run. And when they're there, I mean, they're there to win, and they are showing up strong.
Yeah, he's a guy now, a little more back in the seat regularly this year,
Yeah.
with his schedule. He would be somebody that don't be surprised if he's running in the top 4, 5, late in that race on Sunday afternoon. So,
Morrissey knows how to take care of his equipment too, to be there at the end.
yep, yeah, for sure. So those are kind of some of the storylines as we look. But when you look down the entry list, you also have your guys who are going to vie for that Midwest Tour title. You're talking about guys like Gabe
Casey
Summers,
Johnson,
Casey
Summers,
Johnson, Max Kaler, Levon Vandergeest, Jeff Storm always runs Madison.
yep,
Um,
Fredrickson.
Fredrickson, Mondyke, Riley Stengem will be there as well. Ryan Farrell. So you're going to have, we have 29 cars currently on the entry list. So a really stout field of super late models to kick the season off for the Midwest Tour.
Yep,
So,
gotta shout out Bryce Miller as well. First
yep,
race for the under the Quickie Development Program for him.
yep,
Don't know if he's gonna play that wild card for this one or not. Stay tuned to the socials in case he does. But
yeah,
there's already been a couple guys that first race after this program that incentive or program was announced. They said, I'm gonna use one of those wild cards right out of the gate. So
yep.
be
So,
intriguing there.
yeah, so let's kind of just glance at last year's results really quick. We'll just run through the top handful, and then we'll look ahead to the Midwest Truck Series. But Ty Majeski wins the event. He had the field by almost 2.5 seconds.
Yep.
Gabe Summers, Brent Edmonds, as we just talked about, Johnson fourth, Mondyke fifth, Ty Fredrickson sixth, Schaefer seventh, Fenhouse eighth, Vandergeest ninth, and Ryan Farrell round out your top 10.
Yep.
So,
Um, One more point with this, again, with this being a long race, you're going to have two for sure competition cautions, which throws that tire strategy in a little bit of a play as well. I know Farrell, he stayed out late with old tires in that race and was trying to stay up front for that one as well. So you're going to see
yep.
that card maybe played here and there, and who's willing to risk it type of scenario too.
Yeah, for sure. So let's just touch on really quick in our most recent podcast that we had just dropped. We did make some race picks, and Cam picked Fenhouse, myself picked Andrew Morrissey, and then you had Casey Johnson. So those will be three guys we will be watching intently. So
Yes.
we'll see where they shake out in terms of our race picks. So any other kind of final thoughts in terms of the Joe Shear Classic 200 with the Midwest
No,
Tour?
I mean, like I said, this is a big one. I really look forward to this one. Weather's, like you said, it could turn out hot for this one. Um, Either way, the cars are fast whenever they go to Madison too.
Hey, Wisconsin's fastest half mile, as they
Got
call
that
it.
right.
So, kind of one other side note, really quick before I jump to the truck series. Madison has posted some of their track and facility renovations. So that will be cool to see what other changes they have had around the facility. Obviously, Greg McCarn's taken very good care of that facility.
Yep.
So don't be surprised if you show up and see some neat tricks here and there from the McCarn's family.
And they'll have the turn four bar set up as usual.
Absolutely. Little Sunday fun day.
Oh yeah.
So cool. Well, that kind of wraps up touching on the ASA Midwest Tour season opener. Let's go ahead and jump over to the Midwest Truck Series. So they will be running with the Midwest Tour. They will have their second event of the season. And what storylines or drivers are you kind of keeping an eye on?
Well, so this could be an event where if you start up front and you got a good truck, you can stay up front. So you may get a surprise winner here and there as well for this one. Last year, I believe this one went pretty long the distance. It ended up coming down to a pretty good battle between Jeff Holtz and Aaron Moyer last year. It damn near could have been a hell of a finish if Aaron Moyer hadn't tapped the wall coming to the white flag out of
Yep.
turn four last year.
Yeah.
And we saw this from the Dells last or when we were out last. they put on great racing and they can race side by side very clean. So if you get those guys together, it's not going to take much. They could be side by side for a number of laps. Maybe let a little bit of the pack catch up to those leaders and really make that race interesting.
And this will be for these guys, this will be their first big track momentum race
Yes.
of the year.
Yep.
So it'll be intriguing to see who has their big track setup dialed in early in the year, as they will also visit Madison again later in the year.
Yep.
So we'll see who unloads fast, but also can kind of gather some data for a second visit later in the season.
The other thing with this is a quick one. This is only a 36 lapper.
Track position will be at a premium
Yep.
for sure. So kind of looking down the results from a year ago. So your 2024 event, as you had mentioned, Jeff Holtz was your winner. Derek Dorr second, Chester Ace was third, Jacob Noddison fourth, Eugene Gregorich fifth, Swan sixth, Bryce Miller seventh, Cody Vanderloop eighth, Brandon Reichenberger ninth, and Aaron Moyer, after he had kind of had a little run in with the wall, finished in 10th. So
Of note, I don't have the full, full rundown here, but Brandon Reichenberger did win the Howie Leto race the second time back as well.
he did.
So
Yep.
obviously you're defending champ going into this one. Decent showing at the Dells, just got him ready for another championship season going into it.
Yep.
Yeah, and obviously Grant Griesbach won at the Dells as well, your current point leader, looking to
Yep.
build on that momentum and build out a point lead as well.
So you'll have they currently, as we're looking at it, they have 33 trucks on the entry list. So they backed up their 30 plus entry list from the Dells with another 30 plus. So tip of the cap to them.
Yeah.
But we're going to have it's going to be your guys who maybe struggled at the Dells a little bit. Might be guys that are going to kind of flex a little bit here at Madison. So just two different track styles. But
You're
as we
gonna
mentioned, go ahead.
I was gonna say you're gonna have a lot of the same drivers that you saw at the Dells running. A couple of the others that maybe just stand out. Obviously, Colin Reffner, he's gonna be back in that 31 truck again
Yeah.
this weekend. And then James Lynch makes a return to the truck series as well.
Yes, he
Um,
does.
Chester Ace has been really good here. He's got a total of 5 wins. At that race, but last win came in 2022. Swan's good anywhere that he goes. So he's got 3 wins there. And again, Grant Griesbach, second race of the season, has only got a 3-point lead. 2-point lead over Nick Van and a 3-point lead over Chester Ace. So tight
Yep,
race and right out of the gate.
absolutely. And then you look at somebody like Eugene Gregorich, who ran well at this event last year. Can't
Yeah.
count him out. So they will put on a hell of a show as well to be in conjunction with the Midwest Tour.
Yep.
So looking forward to it. Excited as ever. This is our big one to kick the season off. The Dells was big in its own way. The Shear is also big history wise. So
Yes.
talking about history, I think we gotta just mention this briefly before we wrap this up. But Mark Martin making his visit to Madison, as well as kind of the Grand Marshal autograph session. They will have a show car on hand. So that would be cool if you're looking to meet and see a NASCAR legend in that, who was raced up here back in his day. So
Yeah, the guy that raced against Joe Shear for a number of years and got
yeah,
beat by Joe Shear a number of times as well.
yep, absolutely. So just even from a spectator standpoint, that would be cool to have him on the grounds and have him floating around and checking out the racing up here in the state of Wisconsin.
Yep.
So, any final wrap ups before we get ready to see at the track on Sunday?
No, I'm just excited for this weekend. We touched at the icebreaker at the Dells was the first race, but May is when you really start to see the racing kick off up here. Get ready for a grueling season. It's a long one, but it's a fun one as well.
Yep. So that is the preview to the Joe Shear Classic 200 for the Midwest Tour, along with the Midwest Truck Series running their Joe Shear 36. So As always, if you can, get out to your local racetrack this weekend, check them out, see what they got going on, check their schedules. Probably getting pretty close to being open for weekly racing if they're not having big specials. So, as always, check out this week's podcast that we've posted already. Take a listen. We talked a little bit of previews on there as well. But again, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next week for another edition of the Tuesday Track Talk podcast.